From heart-stopping wrecks to satisfying instant justice, you'll only see these fan-submitted videos on Wham Bam Dashcam, so let's get started. Miles was on his way back to work after a lunch break when another driver pulled in front of him, giving him no opportunity to stop before colliding with them. Miles slammed on the brakes, but his 2013 Ford Fusion lost traction and slid into the back of the Chevy Malibu. The impact rendered his car undrivable, and his smartwatch automatically summoned first responders to the scene. Thanks to Miles' dashcam, the Malibu driver was found responsible for causing the collision. He told us he replaced his beloved Fusion with, get this, a 2015 Ford Fusion. This submitter wants us to credit his video to Flying F-150, and you'll see why. He was driving on unfamiliar roads when he realized too late that the intersection in front of him was only a T intersection. Our submitter told us his GPS showed that the road continued straight. After 15 to 20 feet of gracefully sailing through the air, his pickup landed in a snow-covered field, yet somehow the airbags didn't deploy. After making sure his dog was okay, our submitter assessed the damage, noting significant damage to the bumper cover, grille, and lower air dam. His dashcam was destroyed on impact, but thankfully, his dog is just fine. He's also fine, by the way, in spite of the fact that his face had gotten friendly with the steering wheel after the airbags had taken the night off. Kevin was passed by a Chevy Cruze in a right turn lane, then watched the driver cruise straight through the intersection illegally. Sadly for the Chevy driver, Kevin wasn't the only one watching. Oh, that instant justice is just so satisfying. Kevin captured this with the dashcam he bought based on our recommendations, so if you're enjoying that sweet picture quality, grab one at the link in the description. Darius was driving down a Colorado highway when the driver ahead of him suddenly slammed on the brakes before plowing into the back of an SUV. The SUV had been stopping for a service vehicle that was blocking the lane, and the driver of the car hadn't noticed until it was too late for their brakes to save them. Darius made sure everyone was okay, then called 911. He also sent copies of his dashcam footage to the SUV driver and the police, which we're sure they appreciated. Justin watched a motorcycle rider speed by him on a highway with a speed limit of about 55 miles per hour. He estimates the biker's speed at about 80 miles per hour. Too bad for him, one of the cars he sped past was an unmarked police vehicle. Justin told us the highway patrol unit lit him up and pulled him over for a quick slice of instant justice. He wanted to shout out his father, who's always excited to watch Wham Bam videos with him. We've got more instant justice videos coming up, and if you're enjoying them, take a second and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss future episodes. Seymour was headed home when his Jaguar XF lost traction on a snowy Ontario highway. See if you can identify the exact moment when he realized he should have replaced his all-season tires with winter tires. Yep, right about there. Thankfully, he managed to regain control without colliding with any other vehicles, hitting the guardrail, or going off the road. He told us it was almost an expensive mistake. Chris had just finished passing traffic on a highway and was about to return to the travel lane when an impatient pickup driver decided to overtake him in the median. But his driving skills weren't up to the task. After the pickup sideswiped Chris's Volkswagen, he immediately called 911 and reported the collision while the pickup driver fled the scene. After watching Chris's dashcam footage, the responding trooper charged the pickup driver with leaving the scene of a collision. The offender's insurance provider covered the repairs to Chris's car, which cost over $1,200 US. The instant justice doesn't stop. Alex was driving his Mustang down a highway one morning with an Ontario provincial police car driving just ahead of him, which a passing BMW driver didn't notice until it was too late. After the BMW driver passed illegally on the shoulder, the police officer lit up the party lights and pulled him over. Alex told us he honked and kept going, laughing the whole way home. This submitter was leaving a grocery store when the driver of a Honda SUV rear-ended her while she was waiting for an opening to turn right.
You've been Honda bumped! Honda bumped!
Yep, that's a confirmed Honda bump. Our submitter told us the Honda driver tried to blame her for the collision, but we have no idea what his excuse could have been since he clearly wasn't paying attention. The responding police officer helped them exchange insurance information, but our submitter said she probably won't make a claim since the damage to her Subaru was so minor. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. Kat was driving down a one-way street when another Honda SUV driver made a left turn from the right lane, and they didn't even bother using their turn signal. Kat slammed on the brakes and swerved to avoid hitting the wandering CRV, then hit the accelerator to avoid being rear-ended. Thankfully, no contact was made between the two vehicles. This submitter didn't manage to escape unscathed from his encounter with a wayward Dodge pickup. When the traffic light turned green, both he and the pickup on his left turned left from their respective lanes. I guess the pickup driver hadn't realized there were two left turn lanes, even though both lanes were clearly marked and had green arrow lights. Our submitter told us they exchanged information and the other driver was apologetic. Our next submitter was on his way home when he spotted yet another Tesla behaving badly.
That Tesla man can't drive!
Yep, that white Model 3 just cruised right through a stop sign, barely even bothering to slow down. Our submitter honked at the Tesla driver, but later investigation revealed they didn't care one bit. Seriously though, why does it seem like the drivers of white Teslas are more likely to behave badly? Is it because white is the free paint color? Leave your theory in the comments. Carson watched an oncoming driver floor it through a gap in traffic before T-boning a passing pickup truck. Thankfully, both drivers maintained control after the collision and managed not to hit any other vehicles. Carson offered his dashcam footage, and he told us the driver of the car accepted responsibility right away. Remember, if you can't see, wait. Your trip will take a lot longer if you wreck your car, or worse. This submitter was driving down a Maryland highway when she watched a Jeep's roof rocket into the air.
Close my eyes and fall asleep.
Whoa! Whoa!
The roof failed to make it to the moon, instead making a rough landing before sliding down the road. Thankfully, our submitter managed to avoid running it over. Will was headed to school when a Dodge Caravan pulled out in front of his Kia Soul, giving him no chance to stop in time to avoid hitting it. Will did swerve into the oncoming lane in an attempt to dodge the meandering minivan, but the two vehicles still made contact, doing $400 of damage to Will's Kia. The other driver's insurance provider took care of everything. Wow, another submission from Canada? Lily Me, one of our Patreon supporters, watched a car cruise past her even though she was already going about 75 miles per hour down a 60 mile per hour highway. Once again, Lily Me wasn't the only one watching. It looks like the other driver noticed the cop car and slammed on the brakes, but it was too late for them to avoid some instant justice. Busted. By the way, our Patreon supporters get access to our private Discord server. Join our Patreon campaign at the link in the description and come chat with the entire Wham Bam team and Lily Me, of course. Leon's Ford Fiesta was parked at the bike shop he works at once a week, and he told us the day was going well. Until he watched a semi-truck back into his car, that is. Leon made an insurance claim with the trucker's insurance provider, and 4 weeks later, they totaled his car. Yes, you heard that right. This dent was enough to convince the insurance company to replace the car rather than fix it. Thankfully, Leon got a cash settlement and got to keep the car, so he went ahead and fixed it himself. Remember, totaled doesn't mean unfixable. It just means the insurance company doesn't want to fix it. Jim was headed home when a driver in the right lane suddenly made an illegal U-turn right in front of him. Jim told us he was sure he was going to hit the other car, but thankfully, no contact was made. He wanted to shout out his son Kai and told us they watch Wham Bam videos together all the time. Randall was driving down a snowy Michigan highway when he watched a Ford Escape lose control and go sliding off the road, down an embankment and into a guardrail. Randall didn't stop, but it looks like the impact wasn't too serious. Don't forget to put on those winter tires when the snow starts to fall, slow down, and leave earlier to arrive on time. Okay, time to lighten the mood. Wes was driving with his wife when they encountered some wildlife making its way across the road very slowly. Wes's wife Tanya, yes, that is how she pronounces it, got out to help the turtle across the road, but that's when it enabled warp speed. Wes told us it scurried across the road to get away from the crazy lady. Wes and Tanya continued home, and they wanted to shout out their son.